Welcome, low ego action heroes. This is Debbie Levitt from deltacx. We're a full service CX and UX consultancy. Check us out and welcome August 6th, 2021. This is our Friday reaction stream. And hello, Charlene. Usually I try to keep these short, but y'all sent in 12 things, so we're going to be here a while going through all the things you've asked me to react to. For those of you at home, please do not adjust your set. I am wearing a shirt with a collar. I bought these in 2013 and I wear them when I have a presentation and it's not for my own company and I can't wear a deltacx shirt. So yes, I have a neck and I've been getting a bit of sun. I'm getting a panda face from Aitan. Hello. Hi, Anna. Happy Friday from Maryland. Happy Friday to you. Hello, Mary, who loves our theme song. I do too. I am so happy with our theme song. Never get sick of it. So let's jump in and find some things that we can react to because y'all been sending them in. If you'd like me to react to your stuff next week, please send it to deltacx.link/reaction. They come in anonymously, and I'll just put them on the list. You only need to send it once. And if you'd like to give me some color around it, like what you want me to specifically look for or react to, you certainly can. All right, so let's take a look. Let's start here. Let me share my screen by, I think, hitting this button. Yep, looks good. So here's the chat room, and here's me, and here's the tip jar, and here's one thing that everybody sent me. Dear designers, okay, first of all, I don't know this person, and I'm not connected to him, so big whatever, but he's got a friendly smile. Dear designers, when someone says focus on the user needs because the user doesn't care about the cool stuff, smile and let that comment pass. Users will appreciate the extra effort you're putting in to make your product beautiful. Tasteless utilitarian design approach results in uninspiring products that won't even pass a logo swap test. Delight lies in the small details. User needs can be solved really well, all the while doing really cool stuff. All we need is some black and white, black and blue on the UI is a sad excuse to hide one's lack of creativity and taste. Okay, so this one's a little bit all over the place. So first you think this guy doesn't care about user needs because he just wants things to be cool. Then he wants you to know that people will appreciate if you also make the product beautiful, which might be true, but who can really say? I recently had a client say to me, like, we like it plain. It's an internal tool. We like it plain. Don't change it. So who knows? Tasteless utilitarian design. So again, this is, I forget the logical fallacy or the bias name for this. Maybe one of you know this, but there's negative framing. I think this fits into negative framing, which I taught about in episode 115. Don't forget to drink when I say episode 115 or 116. I'm having water. So this is negative framing. So the idea is that this person wants you to associate utilitarian design, where something is useful to someone, with tastelessness. And I think there's no reason why we can't combine good visual design with something that's utilitarian and helps people with their tasks and their experience and their, well, you know what I'm saying. If you've been here before, you know what I'm saying. So again, and then he goes into delight lies in the small detail. So this guy's all over the place. And ultimately, I think he's got half a point somewhere in here. But I try to remind people that delight isn't our goal. Delight is a side effect of creating something that helps users' tasks, needs, pain points, efficiency. That's the point. Don't shoot for delight. Shoot for what the users are trying to accomplish. And if someone can give you good visual design on it, say yes. So since this guy has like half a point somewhere in here, I think I will give him 2 dogs. If you think that's a little bit too harsh, we can give him 3 dogs. But again, I don't want you to think that it's more important to make something beautiful than to focus on the user needs. I would say focus on the user needs and make it look good. Why can't we have both? Why do we have to act like we can only have one thing? It's a false choice every time we go through this, y'all. All right, so that was it for that. And then now I've got 11 more for you. We got an open job in Saudi Arabia, so I will not be applying. Plus, I like my current job. So we're assembling a UX team and we're trying to boost our UX maturity. Okay, sounds a little self-aware. Charlene says, head design of cred. I don't, oh, head design. Oh, that guy. Yeah, I don't know what cred is. So I don't know. Self-appointed cred. I don't know. This person wants to establish a UX-driven culture. Again, this job is UX researcher. So they're looking for a senior. So that's usually going to be 5 or more years. Capable of driving change and boosting maturity. So you're a UX researcher and you have to be able to drive change and boost UX maturity, which of course is very difficult if you don't have the authority to do that or the buy-in from other leadership to change how UX is perceived or treated. So we have to be careful here that we have to make sure, ask a lot of questions in this interview and make sure that this job is set up to create the change that they're telling you you're going to come and make. You'll report to the CEO and the team lead. Okay, so this sounds like a very small company if you're reporting straight to the CEO. You'll research your projects end to end for your team, and you're working with designers, product managers, and engineers. You're the first dedicated researcher. Okay, I mean, sometimes that can be good if you're happy to create the practice in a company, or it can be bad if you're hoping to come into a company that, where they already know what they're doing. Surojit says, I think that's a major problem with most Indian designers and corps. For them, designers are the one who make things look pretty. Yeah, sometimes, not just India. Conduct generative and evaluative research, identify and prioritize research questions, informed and empathetic organization. Again, we can't make anybody more or less empathetic. Go for sympathy. Highlight usability issues, increase operational efficiency. Okay, might be asking a bit much. Years of experience don't matter as much as your accomplishment as a researcher focused on web and mobile apps. Okay, but we did ask for a senior. So hypothetically, that is 5 or more years experience. So ultimately, what do I think about this job? I think if it's true, it sounds good. If it's true, it sounds good. If you are really going to get to do all this research and designers are going to wait for your reports and your insights and your outcomes, and engineering is not going to build whatever it is until we are research informed, that's great. If you are going to have the power to build a practice and to do it correctly and to bring more customer centricity to the company, that's great. So like, if this is real, it's great. If this turns out to be a glorified description of a terrible job, it's bad. So if this job is what it says it is, I'll give it 4 dogs out of 5 because it should be a great job if it matches the job description, but you're going to have to ask a lot of questions in that interview to make sure that you are getting the power and authority and room to do and create what this job claims to want. All right, let's move on. Next is friend of the show and someone I greatly admire, Elisa Delgado. And she posted this about a week ago. We are connected. I opened this in a private browser. And I didn't respond to it at the time, and it's a long post, but let's go through some of it, and I'll tell you what I think. So she starts out by saying, UX hybrid versus UX researcher or designer. I read a post this morning about how you couldn't get a good UX researcher designer hybrid, and it was better to have 2 separate roles. I couldn't disagree more. I've been a hybrid, worked with hybrids, and hired dozens. They're second to none. There are some exceptional researcher design only, probably she means practitioners, that can collaborate well between the 2 roles and interpret significance of insights and design, but a hybrid has many benefits. Okay, so I'm just going to stop there. So let me say that in some ways I agree with her and in some ways I don't, which is why I didn't comment on it at the time, because I like her a lot and I wasn't looking to debate her. I know what she's shooting for here. So I myself do research and I also do the interaction design architecture side of things. So hypothetically, that makes me this researcher designer hybrid. Yes, I love doing both roles. I like to get both work. You don't have to hire me to do half of it. I can do all of it, and that can be great. And there certainly are great people who specialize in one. So I agree with her opening paragraph. So going a little bit deeper, when doing user research, they'll have a very deep understanding of the user and customer, yes, and as a designer can interpret and when passing insights from, hi Shrivas, how's the job search going? Things can get lost in translation from researcher to designer. Not necessarily, could happen. Have to make sure researchers are good communicators and doing the right things by their teammates, but again, could happen. Hybrids provides a good amount of flexibility. They can move to different things on a project, provided we've given them time. If you remember from episode 116, everybody drink, I talked about how if we're waiting for that hybrid researcher designer to do a project that needs 600 hours of research and design, you're waiting 19 weeks for that person. The benefit of having the separate researcher and designer, and in fact, in that case, I showed 3 researchers and 2 designers running in little, teams in an assembly line, is more of that agility. So again, I get what she's saying. There are people like her and like me and some of you who are good at both. And maybe some of you who are just starting out in UX and you're only really good at one of them, and maybe later you'll be good at both. There's no pressure to be good at both. It's okay to start out more as a specialist. But I would say I'm probably looking for people to be more separate just because of the pressure we're under to be agile. And I think that we'll be more agile when we have researchers doing this and designers doing this, and we have a little bit of that kind of agile thing going. Shrival says, so far so good. 2 interviews coming up. Good luck. I can't wait to hear that you've got success. So all in all, I like Elisa a lot. I'm not necessarily disagreeing with her, but I see it from a couple of additional angles that she didn't mention, because she didn't say, and here's why this is agile. I know that it may be and it may not be, and I'm more worried about us and agility right now, because engineers are pooping on us a lot, and that's going badly. So since I like Elisa and I technically don't disagree with her, I will give her 4 dogs out of 5. Okay, moving on. Someone sent me a Medium article that looks like it came out about 2 weeks ago. Clowder says, as a mostly hybrid, I crave collaboration. Give me separation. We're all different. Hi, Michael. Happy Friday to you too. So some guy I've never heard of, and I didn't look him up on the LinkedIn, claims he has a process to replace personas, and sadly, he seems to have stolen the name of it from Pokemon, which I think is immediately a trademark infringement, so don't do that. But basically, he starts out by saying personas are so bad and terrible and whatever, and we've covered this multiple times on this channel. You can find that in the Micro Lessons playlist, where I talked about making actionable personas, and we also did task analysis personas. So this guy is saying start with interviews. And you can even add survey and analytics. I wouldn't put surveys and analytics in my personas, but, well, let's see where he's going with this. Summarize your interviews into cards. Okay, I mean, is this affinity diagram? And then he says, we call this a user card, a summary of an interview with one real person. But give the card a name, not a human name, maybe a Pokemon kind of name. Printard, Princelatix, Paper Slinger, and then make these on Miro. So again, it sounds like they're not really personas. They're a summary of one interview that you did. And of course, now you want to do a fun exercise with the whole team. Y'all know how I feel about that. And now you're going to group the user cards into groups, but only 2 or 3. I don't know why there's 2 or 3. Sometimes we make 6 personas. I've heard of people who've had more personas. Someone told me the other day they had 18 personas. Now shuffle the deck again and do another grouping. What other patterns can you find? This is very strange. I'm not sure how this is better than affinity diagramming and looking for themes and patterns, and I'm not sure how this is better than the research analysis that we do now. So I would say my impression of this is it doesn't feel strong to me. It doesn't feel like something I would do or try, and I'm always open to try something that's better. I mean, I only learned about Larry Marine's task analysis stuff in the last year and a half. So I'm definitely happy to learn something new that is meaningful, actionable, and helpful, and really going to drive the practice forward. I'm definitely not feeling this one, and I certainly don't love the trademark infringement. So I'm going to give him 1 dog out of 5, but I'm curious what everybody in the chat room thinks about Poke mapping. All right, let's move on to the next reaction. This is a Medium article, again, from about 2 weeks ago, and I don't know this guy either. I didn't look him up on LinkedIn, so I don't know who he is. If we're connected, that's news to me. Clowder says, gotta catch them all. Catch all the fake personas. So this says leveling up the design org. And I think the person who sent this in said, what do you think of this methodology and is it good? Now we can see from my scroll bar, this is a long article. And we're just going to have to scan it and make the best of it that we can because I don't have an hour to spend on it. But basically, I skimmed it when it was first sent in. I haven't looked at it in days. But the idea was it seemed like this person was going to create some sort of differentiation in their organization between people with different levels. So for example, if we zoom in here a bit, we can see here's what they think a junior does. Here's what they think a mid-level does. Here's what they think a senior does, and here's what they think a lead does. Now, I wrote this into my book 2 years ago, so I have my own opinions on this, and there's some similarities there. But again, I wouldn't say that, see, so this is the problem. Remember, now he's saying a product designer has to be able to do design and research. I thought a product designer was UX UI. Now it's UX UI and research. Now this is just getting unreasonable. And then they're saying the focus is juniors work on things that are now, mids work on some things that are now, seniors work on things that are coming in the future, or whatever's next, and the lead is working on the future. I'm not sure I agree with that. I mean, that just sounds like we should just plan this better and have people working on things that are coming soon. I know that Agile tends to feel that when UX works on things that are meant for too far in the future, that's not Agile. So I don't know. Leadership of the product and leadership of the category, I'm not sure. Mentorship of individuals and mentorship of groups and improvement of projects and improvement of programs. Again, not too sure about this. And then I really didn't want to read this. Oh boy, spreadsheets. I didn't want to read this. So I've got to say, if you're going to come up with a paradigm, I wish it were easy for me to digest. This first thing is not that hard for me to digest, but then I felt like I'm not really feeling it. And then there was this, and I really didn't want to look at this. So I don't know what to tell you. So I would just say, do not know. Don't even want to give this guy dogs because I'm having trouble getting through this. And I'm having trouble getting through this in a reasonable amount of time. I don't know. This seems overly complicated from what should a junior do? What should a mid-level do? What should a senior do? And what should a lead do? Scope, impact, key accountabilities. I don't know. I just don't know. This seems like a lot to go through. This seems like I would need an hour to download these graphics, zoom in on them, read them closely, see what I feel about it. This is really hard for a reaction stream because it's hard for me to have a quick reaction to something someone said. This person wrote this as something you have to go deep into. So I'm going to just pass on this one and say, if you all are interested in this person's concept of levels, then you can check this out. I can't say if I agree or disagree because I found it, once I looked at it, I didn't even want to look at it. So that's just me. Maybe I'm just lazy. Let's move on. Okay, this was a UX Collective article from 4 days ago, and it says, now you can have a Googler review your UX portfolio. I guess that wasn't available earlier. Readers of the UX Collective who are taking the Google UX Design Certificate can now enter, I guess, a competition for a chance to get portfolio feedback from a Googler. I really wish we stopped holding people who work at FANG up as some sort of amazing, unattainable gods, like if only someone from Google could look at your portfolio. These are also regular people. So it looks like this was some sort of contest that you had to enter. But, you know, I was messaging, I was writing publicly today with someone on LinkedIn who was talking about having done the Google Coursera thing and then showed their portfolio to a UX manager at Google. And they said, the UX manager found nothing wrong with my portfolio. And again, this is a hopeful junior trying to get their first job and having trouble with that. There's something wrong with my portfolio. There's a lot wrong with my portfolio. If someone says there's nothing wrong with your portfolio, they either didn't look, they don't have standards, or they just wanted to be a cheerleader and say something nice to you. But I think the tough love and the real feedback is important. So remember, it's not important to have a Googler look at your portfolio. It's important to have a hiring manager in the company or industry you want to work in, or just an experienced hiring manager look at your portfolio and tell you how it could be better. So I would give this 2 dogs, because chances are there's a bunch of Googlers on something like ADP list or whatever. The Googlers are not some rare species. They're out there. Go find one if that's important to you. Googler. Yeah, I know. So yeah. So not impressed. I'll give that 2 dogs. And I also don't like the idea that one person, how many people were going to win this? How many people are they picking? I don't even know. Does it say? The first 50 entries will have their portfolio reviewed by a Googler between August 1st and September 30th. Yow, you got to wait 2 months. Ah. Well, and again, you have to complete all the courses for the Google UX Design Certificate, which we already covered in a previous episode and said it was nearly 100% garbage. So I think that's not I'm not impressed. Now, wouldn't be a reaction stream without somebody sending in Joe Natoli, who, as you know, I am not friends with and we are not connected. We have not blocked each other yet, but there's not a lot of love there. So let's take a look at this. And of course, as usual, I'm going to voice act this. So, take a drink now before I start. Here we go. And I don't know what Joe sounds like. I haven't watched any of his videos or met him. So I'm just going to voice act this the way it looks like it's written to me. Less experience means I can't charge as much. No, it absolutely positively does not. Pricing isn't based on experience, it's based on value. More specifically, it's based on perceived value. When every outward piece of communication you use to describe, showcase, and promote your services emphasizes return on investment and business results, prospects see value. Your job then is to keep every message, artifact, and conversation focused on how the work you do is going to help them make or save money. Projects, the ones you want, are rarely lost because of price. If you don't get the job, the reason is that the client thinks you're lacking in expertise, ability, or in understanding what they need and why. In other words, they can't see how what you're proposing gets them the outcome they want. And believe me when I tell you that the outcome they want is to make or save money, not user delight or best practices. Wow, sounds like he's been listening to me, doesn't it? What's more, your attitude will be a big determining factor as to whether or not they hire you, because this sounds like a pretty good attitude. No matter how insecure you feel, no matter how bad your imposter syndrome may be, no matter how uncomfortable you are talking about yourself, you must exude calm competence and confidence at all times. You have to act like you've been there and done that, even if you haven't. Especially if you haven't. Uh-oh, I smell fake it until you make it. Everybody, get your drinks ready. Let me tell you a quick story. When I jumped ship from one of the largest ad agencies in the world in 1998, the internet was barely a thing. I left because I couldn't convince the old rich men around the place that this internet thing wasn't just some passing trend. My goal was to start a web experience design firm, but because it was so new, no one, including me, knew how to do any of that stuff. That's funny, I started my firm in 1995. So while we told everybody in earshot we designed digital experiences for the internet, we really had no fucking idea how exactly to do that. Ooh. Companies would ask me questions I didn't really have answers to, but I answered them anyway. Joe, do you guys know how to do X? Oh, absolutely. That's really not as complex as it sounds, just a matter of knowing boop bop a beep. And I'd be spouting some high-level theory I'd read about in one of any number of emerging digital business magazines like Fast Company or Business 2.0 or Wired. That belief, that attitude is a critical component of your success. Going forward, stepping right into your fear and touching it is what it takes. No experience, no problem. Fake it until you make it. And remember that the answer to do you know how to or can you is always yes. So, and obviously after that, he tries to sell you something. So fuck that times 2. So obviously you can see why Joe and I are not buddies. I'm quite disappointed at the messages that he puts out. Aitan says, this reminds me of Sarah's blog from last week. I know, doesn't it? These guys must be reading the same how to sell shit to gullible people references. Aitan says, why are you people proud of this? Why? Don't say it out loud. This is something I'd hide. Yeah, I think that it's because you have to remember when the most popular UX videos on the planet are, I got a job with no experience and no qualifications. There is an audience that is hungry to get into UX or do UX work or be well paid to pretend they do UX work. And Joe wants you to pretend to do it. That will open up their wallets for this. They will say, Joe gets me. Joe understands me. I should try him out. I should give him my money for this stuff. Madalena goes, oh, it's that Telling Lies article. Yeah, so ultimately, obviously, if you're here on my channel, you know this isn't good, or you're tired of this, or you're wondering about this. And I welcome all of you. Even if you're a fan of Joe and some of the things he says and does, I want you to look critically at things like this because I don't think they're good for the industry and I don't think they're good for your career. I don't think fake it until you make it is the right way to go. If you find you're faking something, work on learning it. And we have to remember, Michelle Ronson shows up here and says, it takes 3 years to get good at UX research. I've seen junior level people do poor interaction design, and I've seen junior level people do great interaction design. It takes many, many hours. Remember, think of it this way. Employers move the goalposts. They want you to have at least 1 year of work experience before you come work for them. That's about 1,500 hours doing the job already, so that they can make sure you're not guessing and faking. That's really what that is. That is insurance against fakers and guessers. Now, of course, Joe is saying, don't worry about that, just go freelance. Because this isn't about a corporate job. This is about being a freelancer or running your own agency. And Michael says, I wonder what I'm investing in. Or I don't know, you tell me. Michael says, posts an article saying fake it until you make it, continues to sell a $14 a month subscription as an investment. What am I investing in? Good point, Michael. If you can fake it until you make it, you don't need Joe. I think Michael's dead on. Michael, you get confetti for that. That is critical thinking prize of the day. I don't have an actual prize, but I thank you for your fantastic critical thinking. You are correct. It reminds me of the story of a kid my sister knew when he was little. He was one of those super smart kids, and he was at a family get-together, and a bunch of cool young teens around his age, he was 12, were all trying to say cool things. And one kid goes, do you know if you inhale 9 helium balloons, you'll faint, and if you inhale 12 helium balloons, you'll die? And my sister's friend goes, how do you inhale the 3 helium balloons after you faint? Boom. Michael says, I appreciate the eco-friendly confetti. Yeah, you can get it again because it's that good. So you're totally right. If you just need to fake it until you make it, you don't need Joe. You don't need Joe's courses. You don't need Joe's secret club. You don't need the secret handshake. You don't need his one-on-one time to advise and guide you. He just gave you the whole story here. He unlocked it for you. All you have to do is say yes to everything and say, yes, you can do that. Spout a bunch of wacky crap you read in a tech magazine and count the money. That's all you have to do. I think we're done here. I think this should get 0 dogs out of 5. We technically don't have 0 dogs out of 5, but week after week, Joe should get 0 dogs out of 5. I hope someday y'all will send me something Joe said that was meaningful, actionable, and helpful, and that didn't include him bitching out me or Darren, or doesn't include him pooping on seniors and leaders, or trying to sell his shit. So negative dogs, totally. I don't have negative dogs. My dogs are very positive. So Joe, shame on you. Total shame on you. And I think you should feel shame, but I don't think you do. So that $14 a month is just too important to you. Whatever you're doing, I can help you do it better. We don't need your help. We're going to fake it until we make it. You've just cannibalized your own funnel. All right, let's move on. Someone sent me a tweet from a guy and then his own follow-up tweet. So let's take a look. So this says Joe Kennedy, who I don't think I know, so no opinion either way, says design school will tell you to write on Post-its, ask why 5 times, and make fake personas instead of listening to your own intuition and building it. So you can see why someone would send that to me. I think you all thought that sentence was going to end differently than it did. I think we all thought this person was going to say, hands up, instead of listening to your users, instead of listening to your observational research, instead of listening to your task analysis, instead of listening to your qualitative findings. I really thought that sentence was going there. And then I was like, oh, just build it from your own intuition, which is what we call genius design, which is I am so good at building stuff and I just know the right thing to build. So I kind of don't need to research or test. So obviously this guy gets the fiery anger, and I would disagree. I would have to give that small number of dogs. Yeah, Madalena said, oh, it's so bad, it's funny. And Aitan said, plot twist. It was a plot twist. And then he replied to his own thing. He said, not trying to be edgy. This tweet is about design school and over-optimizing on process. And this is something I'm seeing more and more of recently. I'm seeing people poop on good UX process, trying to act like it's too optimized, or wow, too much UX process means I can't be creative, which I think we've got something else on coming up. It's much better to be in the position of, I built this site you can see and use. Here's what I've learned from people, versus I spent expensive time researching types of students. Look at these graphs and quotes. So again, plot twist. Here's a guy telling you it is much better to have built your site and learn some things from people, but evidently not from research. You want to learn things from people, but not spending extensive time researching people. But then he immediately associates research with graphs. So again, this is negative framing. Negative framing is any time that we associate something that on its own is neutral, like research, with things we evidently don't want. Static mocks that don't tell you anything. Ooh, that sounds bad. I mean, static mocks could be okay. We call them wireframes and mock-ups and comps. They could be good, but static mocks that don't tell you anything is designed for you to be like, oh, God damn it, no, anything but that. Sweet holy Jesus. So Aitan says, I'm seriously laughing here in my room. Madalena says, look at all these graphs and quotes. Yeah, so not totally a thing. Charlene says, what's wrong with people? I know, Charlene, you probably came here hoping you would be picked up, but this is Reaction Stream and people mostly send me garbage. So here we go. Next one was Instagram. This one is from UX Design Memes, who of course I am not following. Madalena says, oh, is the guy who tweeted paying $14 a month to Joe by any chance? Yay, Madalena, for the comedy win. You're always good when you can bring back one theme in your stand-up comedy routine and combine them. Really good, really good. Confetti to you and Michael. What? Twitch? Oh, Twitch is sending me crazy crap. No thanks, Twitch. All right, so this says, just graduated design school checklist. Check. How to talk about design, but only to other designers. What? That sounds high ego. How to only use Adobe products for design. What? How to relate to other designers about not being able to find work. Okay. The color wheel, maybe. The history of Helvetica. I don't know. Do y'all learn that? I have a degree in music. $198,000 in debt. I don't know. Sounds like more than medical school. So I'm guessing there's sarcasm here. What I don't have, how to work with clients, stakeholders, engineers, product managers, everyone at a company. I do find that's true. Design school and UX boot camps don't seem to teach that. How to ask questions. I find that is also true. Excuse me. How to handle criticism or feedback from non-designers. How about criticism or feedback from designers? I find a lot of people coming out of programs and boot camps have never gotten criticism or feedback, so they are not always good at handling it. How to sell and market yourself. True, not always covered. How business works. Right, not always covered. This isn't business school. Latest tools and technologies. I don't know. Everybody's talking Figma. So I don't know. This one just seems like a bucket of sarcasm that we're all supposed to just click on it and be like, oh yeah, this is like, oh my God, so true. 100% hundreds. I will give it one dog. Okay. Next was a Medium article, which was a reaction to another Medium article. So it looks like a Medium article came out about a week or so ago, and I only found this out from looking at this. Oh, Charlene says, what design school this person went to? I learned so much more than that in my bachelor's. Good question. From what I'm reading here, it sounds like there was a Medium article come out, I guess, a week or so ago that tried to claim that standardization in UX and maturity in UX and best practices and processes in UX make people uncreative. I don't know why somebody didn't send me that article so I could poop all over it, but this is somebody disagreeing with it. I don't know this person. I'm a UX UI designer from Auckland, New Zealand. Beautiful place to live. So I don't know this person, but he's certainly living in a beautiful place. And complaining about the maturation design is all the rage right now. We claim all websites look the same and everybody's design process is the same or it's bad, like design sprints, which results in designers turning into replaceable commodities with little room for creativity and diversity. Oh, I could agree with that part. This guy says data-driven design is killing our instincts. Okay, I don't think we should have instinct-driven design. That's like Plan Z. If I can't meet users, talk to customer support, I mean, like Plan Z is instinct-driven design. So I don't agree there. So this is from The Vanishing Designer. Did we cover this one last week? This is starting to sound familiar. Somebody asserts that UX standardization has turned us into replaceable commodities because we've substituted the human essence of design, intuition, ingenuity, and taste with tangibles, measurables, and deliverables. Yeah, so this just sounds like garbage fighting with garbage, and it's like not even worth my time. Heads up, guys, a lot of this stuff you send me isn't worth your time. Get off Reddit, get off Medium, get off Instagram, unless you're looking at my dogs. This is so not worth your time. Maybe the reaction stream eventually withers away and dies because y'all look at this stuff and go, wow, this isn't worth my time. And Deb shouldn't even spend her time talking about this out loud. This is garbage. Garbage fighting garbage. Every week I'm giving everything one dog because it's just garbage. Maybe this extreme shouldn't exist. Just stop. It's all garbage. And you know it. You know it's garbage because you're sending it to me. Very rarely are you sending me something and going, this looks good, but what do you think? I get that sometimes. But like someone didn't know if this guy's, job level thing was good. I can't tell if it's good. I don't have the attention span for it. So boo, 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 boring. Scott says, for you free Medium users, consider that some of these garbage articles are eating your free articles for the month. Also true. And you know what? I can tell even from this title that I don't want to read it. I can see the title and go, this guy doesn't think standardization of UX stifles creativity. Good, me either. Next. Can we all start using our time better? Do we need to talk about time management? Just read the title and the subtitle of the article, and then you don't have to read the article unless you're like, holy crap, I hope this person gives me actionable ideas. I try to give actionable ideas, but maybe you read my article and you think I didn't give actionable ideas. Read the title and the subtitle and move on. Move on. All right, 0 dogs for all of this crazy crap. And then finally, I was sent this, which I had to zoom in on so you didn't see the terrible ads that showed up on the page under this. Looks like somebody on, is this LinkedIn, maybe? I'm a something something, so I don't know what this is. I don't know if this is clean or dirty, but it was crossed out for me. And then they also crossed it out here, so I don't know what word begins with T that is not appropriate to show. Crossed out their picture, crossed out their name, that's fine. They're calling themselves a UX Universe astronaut and researcher. Now that's fun because 2 days ago we did the live stream on what should our titles be, and nobody said astronaut. I think something like this can be cute. I think something like this can be a conversation starter. That does work for me on LinkedIn. People see that my title on LinkedIn says the Mary Poppins of CX and UX, and it starts conversation and hopefully doesn't offend too many people. I think something like this can be cute if this person has some sort of good story to back it up. I have a good story to back up the whole Mary Poppins thing, and so hopefully our UX astronaut has a good story. Oh, we could just go over to LinkedIn and type in UX Universe Astronaut and we would get who this is and see whatever you crossed out. So I'm not going to do it. You must have crossed it out for some reason. But I would say this is cute. If this is your actual job title, then I would think that's a little weird. I think when we give ourselves weird job titles at real jobs, it can decrease the respect for UX. So if your real job title were UX Universe Astronaut and Researcher, I would think that would decrease our respect. But if it's something cute that you put on LinkedIn or social media and it's not your job title, then I think it's cute. I think it's cute. I think it makes you interesting. I think it's a conversation starter. I think it could be your brand, and I think that's fine. So there you go. Any questions or comments before we head out? Because this has been, I wanted to make these 20 minutes, but everyone's been sending me so many things at deltacx.link/reaction that now these things are turning into 45 minutes and longer. But any last thoughts or comments? I will wait to see if anybody posts anything. Remember, we're coming up in August. We're going to be doing a lot of our live streams are going to be micro lessons around different aspects of research where I'm just going to show you how I do things. That doesn't mean it's the only way to do it or the right way to do it. It's how I do it. And if you like some of my style, try it. If you don't like my style, you didn't pay anything for it. I10 says, so many Medium articles this time. Yeah, Medium is the place to write things, I get that. But I find that so many Medium articles are garbage. And I just tell people time after time, the first thing to do is check who wrote the article. In our Slack workspace the other day, who remembers this? And let's put up the how to join our Slack channel. So please subscribe on YouTube. I'm shooting for 3,000 subscribers this year, so please tell people about the channel. Join our Slack channel, deltacx.link/join Slack. Unlike Joe and Sarah, it's completely free. And tip jar is optional, but appreciated. I will buy chocolate chips. Madalena says, is Medium getting clogged with useless crap? It always has been. So I tell people, when you see an article, find that person on LinkedIn and see what their experience is. If they haven't worked in UX for a while and they're giving you their opinion on UX, take it or leave it. There was a guy who I finally had to block on LinkedIn years ago now, and he was like a failed UX dude who ended up in product management but became like Mr. Design Sprints, and all of his articles and LinkedIn posts were always like, UX is dead, UX is bloated, UX is slow, design sprints. And he wrote all these Medium articles. UX research is just so bad and wrong, and design sprints. And we had that in the Slack channel the other day where someone posted an article about how it was called UX research is overrated. And of course it was written by the guy who runs the top design sprint facilitation company and design sprint training company. So horse in race. Of course he wants you to think UX research is overrated. He's got to sell you a design sprint. So please, this is where critical thinking is important. Take a look at what people are saying and doing and what they have to sell you. I don't have anything to sell you. My big dream is that someday a company you're working for will go, Deb's pretty cool. Let's pay her to speak. I would love to get paid speaking. I hope somewhere you work someday says, Deb's pretty cool. Let's bring in her company to do a project. I hope to do a project for your company someday. Other than that, I've got nothing to sell you. I don't have a $15 a month thing or a $100 course or whatever. I've got no ads on my YouTube videos. Most of the training I put out is free. Just when somebody's got something to sell, you've got to put 2 critical thinking hats on and 7 masks with filters, because there is a reason the article's being written. Like, I remember when I freaked out because User Zoom wrote an article on why democratizing research is good and how you want to get everybody in the company involved in research. Well, of course User Zoom would write that, whether or not it's a good idea. They want to sell licenses to their research-related software. The more people that in a company that are involved in the research, the more licenses they can sell. Horse in race, something to sell. So when you look at these articles that come off as opinions or factual declarations that UX research is overrated, and if you think it's got value, you're an idiot, take a close look at who is writing this and use that critical thinking to figure out what they gain from it, because they almost always do. Scott, good to see you. Scott says Medium levels the playing field by giving the same branding and voice to everybody, from your knowledgeable folks to your oblivious folks. Very true. Madalena says, anyway, I was cracking up. Thanks for this. Scott says, but that's not necessarily a good thing. It's a way for non-knowledgeable people to more easily fake expertise, and I see a ton of awful advice proliferated there. Yes, Medium's got no quality at all. We're working on a website right now, and we got sidetracked, but I promise it's going to exist. We're almost done with it, but then my boyfriend and I are so busy we haven't finished it. But it's going to be part of the Low Ego Action Hero community, and we're going to let you write articles, and they're only going to go up if we think they're worthy of going up. If somebody sends us crazy crap, it's not going to go up. And we're hoping it will be kind of the medium for people who want quality in UX. Now, if they want to hear that task analysis is guessing how to paint a room, or if they want to hear this other crap, UX research is overrated, they can go to Medium. Madalena says, you mean you can't fake it till you make it? Yes. Aitan says, that tweet with the plot twist was the star of the show today. It's still killing me. I know. I was so excited that this guy was going to be like, you really want to go with those user insights and qualitative research. And then he goes, you want to go with your intuition. And I'm like, no. Oh, no. UX is intuition. In that case, you don't need to go to a boot camp or school or Joe's Club or anything. Just use your intuition. Design what you like. I know, Charlene, you've been waiting for our site and we keep putting it on the back burner. Thank you. I know you're going to be a big part of it and we're grateful. Scott says UX articles with actual editorial oversight. Who would have thunk it? Looking forward to it. Yes, it's almost ready. There's a couple, because we bought all these WordPress plugins and they're not playing well together. We keep having these problems. So, and my boyfriend keeps getting paying work. So I can't be like, honey, fix my site. I don't want to be that girlfriend. I want to be like, honey, please make money and make clients happy. I'll bother you next month. So sorry about that. But anyway, I'm going to wind down here. We're going to watch Ted Lasso, #not sponsored. Is anybody else watching Ted Lasso? It seems like a cute show, though I don't like that they brought the Jamie character back. No bad idea. Unless it's going to be a redemption arc for him. Spoiler. Well, that's just a prediction. Madalena says, me! Yes, Ted Lasso is a fun show. We discovered it some months ago, and we watched a couple episodes, and then we were like, this is pretty good. Want to watch a few more? Like, okay. We literally stayed up till 3 a.m. watching the entire first season. I've never done anything like that in my life. We binge watched the whole first season. We were like, this is really good. And now it's second season. Oh, Madalena says, love Ted since his Saturday Night Live days. Yeah. So it is a nice show. It is on Apple TV, so it is paid. But here it's like €5 a month, which is about $6 a month. So it's not too bad. And then we figure we'll watch Ted Lasso and then cancel it. Because we're cheap like that. You're allowed to be too. We care about $5 over here, and why not? If I ever stop caring about $5, and sometimes I don't care about $5, let's be clear. Sometimes, like my boyfriend's mom the other day was like, I'd like to buy a garden hose, but I'm not sure. And I said, how much is it? She's like, €25. I'm like, buy the garden hose. Like, I'm not going to get wrapped up in 25 euros. You want a garden hose? Let's get you one. So I try not to get too wrapped up in small amounts of money, but I know that for some people, these aren't small amounts of money. So everything's relative. And there's certainly been times in my life where that was a scary amount of money. So it's all relative. Hello, Olivia the dog. Good to see you. Charlene says, I do that sometimes to watch Hindi movies. Yeah. All right. Well, I hope we're going to watch Ted Lasso now. Hint, hint. Okay, so I'll wind down the show, but I'll see everybody on Monday, and we're going to be doing a micro lesson because I've got lots of micro lessons planned for August based on some of the things that people were asking for over in the Slack room. So I'm going to be showing you how when I'm doing research, I do note-taking, coding, and affinity diagramming. And again, we've done a little bit of the affinity diagramming before, but I'll just be talking to my methods and taking your questions, and hopefully it'll help you out there. And then Tuesday's office hours, though not Three Musketeers, we had to postpone that. Office hours with Three Musketeers will be the 17th. So I'm going to play us out of here, but everybody please isolate, masks, distancing. The pandemic is not over. Please do not run out to the nude beach. We're just not ready for this. If you're going to go to the nude beach, wear a mask. That's all I can ask you. All right. On that note, everybody be well, and I will see you in the Slack channel. Happy Friday. Thanks for hanging out. Customer centricity as business intelligence. Visit deltacx.com to learn why we are